Okay, so pronunciation is a language system along with grammar, lexis, and functions. In this module, we consider the importance of teaching pronunciation in the classroom. We said that if students don't know correct pronunciation, they will not be successful communicators, and it will also be difficult for them to understand what is being said, as pronunciation is not just producing sounds, it's also understanding them. Can we then briefly summarize what we have learned about pronunciation in this module, please? What do we teach when we teach pronunciation?
Yes, so we teach phonemes, or individual sounds. As you remember, they consist of vowels and consonants. We also teach stress, and this includes both word stress and sentence stress, as well as intonation, which is closely intertwined with sentence stress. And finally, we also teach connected speech.
Let's look at phonemes first. I understand that to teach phonemes, I can refer to the phonemic chart, yes? And how do I decide which sounds to teach?
Well, firstly, you need to do a needs analysis. So listen to your students and identify the problems that they have. You might also want to do some research about the specific problems different nationalities have with the English sounds, and this should help you narrow down the sounds that the students really need to practice. You then take it one step at a time, but first teach the sounds which are immediately relevant to your students because they struggle to say them.
And how important is the phonemic chart in this?
It is very important. Do not forget that receptive awareness comes before production. This is to say that students need to hear it first and notice it first before they can say it. So let them notice the sounds. Raise awareness by showing the sounds on the chart. Students need to practice hearing and recognizing first.
And how do we teach stress? Is it really that important?
Yes, it is very much so. English is a stress time language, and it poses serious issues for students whose L1 is syllable stressed, for example Italian, Spanish and French. Stress is closely related to the rhythm of the English language, and it has its implications on connected speech. In order to maintain the rhythm, words are pushed together in a sentence, changing the pronunciation of many grammar words as they take on the weak forms of the schwa. Students need to be trained in order to notice this. If they don't understand it and can't see it, it will have an impact on their listening skills, not just speaking. They will simply not be hearing what they are expecting to hear. So, when teaching stress, teachers have to firstly raise awareness about the rhythm of the English language and help students understand which words tend to carry meaning, therefore are stressed, as well as highlight and practice identification and production of the weak forms and the schwa sound.
The immediate implication of sentence stress is connected speech, am I correct?
Yes, you are. Connected speech is a massive aspect of English pronunciation. It consists of weak forms, or the schwa sound, which I've already said. The more syllables there are, the quicker they will have to be said in order to fit them into the rhythm, and the more weak forms there will be. But there are also other features of connected speech which are highly significant for students. These include linking, which is when words are pushed together and may not be recognisable to students in continuous speech, even though in isolation they are perfectly clear. It includes assimilation, which is when a sound changes, elision, when a sound is dropped, and intrusion, when a sound is added. All these aspects of connected speech are massively significant for students. They need to be aware of them in the first place, but they also need to practice.
Finally, intonation. What is it and what is its importance?
So, intonation is the rise and fall in pitch. The important thing about intonation is that it gives meaning when we speak, as well as emotions. It is often referred to as the vocal gesture and intensifier, just like the way we use gestures to reinforce the message we want to communicate. The difficulty intonation presents students with is that sometimes change in meaning depends only on intonation. There may not be any grammatical or lexical change, and students need to be aware of it. Another thing is that intonation may be difficult to teach because even though there are patterns, there are also many possibilities. Teachers should still be eliciting and helping students see patterns such as WH questions, which are intonated down, not always, but generally. However, yes or no questions are intonated up. Turn taking, which is using intonation to indicate when you have finished speaking, and question tags, which is when intonation rises when checking information and then falls when chatting.
So when do we teach pronunciation?
So the way we teach pronunciation varies, depending on your approach. You could plan either a whole lesson dedicated to pronunciation, or you could have specific parts of the lesson devoted to pronunciation, for example when you deal with MFP or when you carry out feedback. Whichever your approach, you have to make sure there is some pronunciation work done in every lesson you teach.
And what other tools teachers have to help them teach pronunciation, apart from the phonemic chart?
Yes, so as you said, the teachers do have the phonemic script. They also have the board, and they should use this to highlight pronunciation features as much as possible. There are also coursebooks, and some coursebooks have pronunciation sections to provide enough practice for students. And of course there is drilling. Drill, drill, drill. And remember, model first, drill chorally, drill individually. Use the techniques you learn in this module and drill.
Your final advice?
So in order for language to be learnt, it needs to be noticed. This is the same for pronunciation. Encourage students to notice differences between how language is written and how it is said, and use your board and the phonemic chart to give students a visual image of sounds, stress and intonation, and make pronunciation memorable.